This video is about hope. She was just a nurse, until a rich CEO gave her a new house. If this story inspires you, please like the video, share it with loved ones, and write in the comments how it touched your heart. In a bustling city where dreams clashed with reality, Clara Thompson dedicated herself to nursing. Every day, she donned her scrubs with a sense of purpose, her heart beating in rhythm with the pulse of the patients she cared for at St. Michael's Hospital. Clara was known for her kind smile and gentle touch, often the comforting presence in the stark, sterile environment of the ward. Yet, her own life was far from the serene calm she provided for others. Clara lived in a small one-bedroom apartment, its cracked walls barely holding the weight of her aspirations. The peeling paint served as a constant reminder of the economic strain she faced, juggling her job with the responsibilities of caring for her ailing mother. Her mother, a once vibrant woman, had fallen ill after a series of strokes that robbed her of independence. "Mom, I'm home," Clara called, her voice warm and inviting as she entered their modest apartment, the scent of old books and faded memories wrapping around her like a familiar blanket. "Clara, dear," her mother responded, her eyes lighting up despite the shadows of illness that lingered. "How was your day?" Clara smiled, brushing her fingers through her mother's thinning hair. "Oh, you know, the usual. A few late nights in the ER, some grumpy patients. But we survived." Her mother chuckled softly. "You're a miracle worker, you know. Those patients are lucky to have you." Clara's heart swelled with a mix of pride and sadness. "And I'm lucky to have you. Remember, we're a team." Despite the warmth that filled her home, Clara carried the weight of exhaustion. Long shifts were the norm, and the emotional toll was heavy. She often found herself lying awake, staring at the ceiling, contemplating if she would ever find a way to improve their living situation. The thought of her mother's health worsening haunted her, pushing her to work harder. One day, as Clara was organizing supplies in the back of the hospital, she overheard a small group of nurses chatting excitedly. "Did you hear about the hospital fundraiser? The CEO of O'Hara Industries is attending. They say he's been a major supporter of healthcare initiatives." Curiosity piqued, Clara turned her attention to the chatter, her mind wandering to the possibilities that came with such a wealthy benefactor. "It would be amazing if his company could help get us new equipment," one nurse chimed in. "Or maybe even renovations for the patient wards," another added. Clara nodded, but her thoughts drifted toward her own struggles. "If only they could do something about affordable housing," she whispered under her breath, not realizing her words carried a weight of longing. The weeks rolled on, and the fundraiser loomed closer. Clara poured herself into her work, but the event lingered in the back of her mind. It was an opportunity, she thought, a chance to connect with someone who might understand the challenges faced by healthcare workers like her. On the night of the fundraiser, the hospital's community room transformed into a chic gala venue. A sea of elegantly dressed attendees mingled beneath twinkling lights. Clara, wearing a simple navy dress she had borrowed from a friend, felt a little out of place. "Clara, you made it!" her colleague Jessica called out, her radiant smile infectious. "You look stunning." "Thanks, Jess," Clara replied, her nerves calming slightly. "I just want to help however I can." As the night progressed, Clara mingled with the crowd, her heart racing as she caught sight of Mr. O'Hara. He was a powerful man, exuding confidence and charisma, easily drawing people into conversation. She felt a tug of anxiety in her stomach. How could she, a mere nurse, approach someone of his stature? But then she recalled the faces of her patients, the importance of advocacy, and the hope she wanted to ignite in others. Clara took a deep breath, trusting in her resilience, and approached the CEO. "Good evening, Mr. O'Hara," she began, her voice steady despite her fluttering heart. "I'm Clara Thompson, a nurse at St. Michael's. Thank you for supporting our hospital." "Ah, Clara, it's a pleasure to meet you," he responded with genuine warmth. "Nurses are the backbone of healthcare. What can we do to improve your work environment?" overwhelmed by his sincerity. Clara felt a spark of hope. We're in great need of better resources, particularly for patient care. But also, I can't help but think about the healthcare workers struggling with housing. It's tough out there. Mr. O'Hara's expression softened, but he maintained a professional demeanor. I understand. My team and I are looking into ways to support not just the hospital, but the community as well. Housing is a pressing issue. Clara's heart raced with renewed determination. That would make a world of difference. We're all trying to give our best, but sometimes it feels insurmountable. As they conversed, Clara shared stories of her patients, their laughter and tears intertwining with her words. She could see Mr. O'Hara's interest peaking, his eyes glistening with empathy. "You have strong convictions, Clara," he said thoughtfully. "I admire that." The night drew on and Clara felt lighter, buoyed by their conversation. Soon enough, she noticed Mr. O'Hara weaving through the crowd, gathering stories and insights from both staff and patients. Each encounter seemed to further deepen his commitment to making a difference. Days turned into weeks after the fundraiser, and although there was no immediate change, Clara felt hopeful. The sense of community blossomed as her colleagues rallied together, inspired by her impromptu talk with the CEO, Al. They began to organize meetings, brainstorming ways to improve the hospital's resources and rally community support. Yet as Clara continued to care for her mother, her home life grew more challenging. The mounting medical bills, coupled with her mother's worsening health, weighed heavily on her shoulders. One evening, Clara returned home exhausted, only to find her mother sitting hunched over the dining table, tears glistening in her eyes. "I'm so sorry, Clara," her mother whispered, her voice trembling. "I don't want to be a burden." Clara rushed to her side, wrapping her arms around her. "You're not a burden, Mom. You're my everything. We'll get through this together, I promise." But sometimes, promises felt like fragile glass, ready to shatter at any moment. Clara smiled through her tears, determined to keep her mother's spirit alive, even in the face of adversity. As the weeks turned into months, Clara learned the true meaning of resilience. She found solace in the small victories. A patient recovering, a colleague's smile. Those moments kept her going, even as the weight of the world pressed down upon her. Then one crisp morning, as Clara prepared for another demanding shift, she received an unexpected call. "Ms. Thompson? This is Jessica from St. Michael's. Mr. O'Hara would like to meet with you. He has some ideas he wants to discuss." Clara's heart raced, a flicker of hope igniting within her. The possibility of change was within reach. "Of course, I'd love to meet with him," she replied, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions coursing through her. As she met with Mr. O'Hara, Clara felt a sense of purpose radiating from her. They discussed not only the needs of the hospital, but also the housing crisis affecting healthcare workers. "I've seen firsthand the burdens you carry," Mr. O'Hara admitted, his tone sincere. "It's time we change that." And in that moment, Clara realized she was not just a nurse. She was a catalyst for change, a beacon of hope in a world that often felt dim. Little did she know that her vulnerability and bravery would lead to a transformation that would impact not only her life, but the lives of countless others, reshaping a community. As Clara walked away from that meeting, a deep sense of hope blossomed within her. She understood that resilience was not just about enduring trials. It was about opening oneself up to possibility, reaching out for help, and believing in the beauty of human connection. Days turned into weeks, and the anticipation from Clara's meeting with Mr. O'Hara lingered in the air like the calming scent of lavender. She returned to her routine at St. Michael's, but the subtle thrill of hope was now embedded in her daily tasks. As she moved through the wards, the sounds of beeping monitors and murmured conversations felt different, somehow lighter. "Hey, Clara," Jessica called out one morning, her voice slicing through Clara's thoughts as she organized medication carts. "Did you hear? The hospital's planning to expand the mental health services. They're looking at new programs." Clara paused, the word expand igniting a spark of optimism. That's fantastic. We need more support for patients facing mental health challenges. It's a huge step forward. Exactly. And I know you had something to do with this surge of energy. You inspired us all at the fundraiser. Jessica beamed, her eyes shining with admiration. Clara felt a warmth spread in her chest. I just shared my heart and let our stories speak for themselves, she replied modestly. But inside, she felt a flicker of pride. As Clara navigated the busy halls, she channeled her energy into engaging with patients, ensuring they felt heard and cared for. Each interaction reinforced her belief in the power of compassion, not just for her patients but for herself too. However, as uplifting as the hospital's news was, the reality of her home life remained a heavy burden. When she returned to the apartment that evening, the familiar sight of her mother hunched over the dining table with a notebook made the weight of her worries resurface. "Hey, Mom," Clara said softly, placing her bag down. "What are you working on?" Her mother looked up, a shadow of uncertainty crossing her features. "Just trying to keep track of the bills. It's getting hard, Clara. I don't want to be in the way." Clara knelt beside her, taking her mother's hands in her own. "You're not in the way. You're my heart, and I want to make sure we're both okay. We'll find a way, I promise." "Sometimes I feel like all I do is take from you," her mother confessed, her voice breaking. "I wish I could do more for you." "Just being you is enough," Clara reassured her. "You taught me resilience. We'll get through this together." The truth was, Clara was terrified. The mounting bills and her mother's declining health felt insurmountable at times. Yet she held on to the belief that change was possible. Days later, as she arrived at work, Clara was met with an unexpected surprise. A large banner hung in the hospital lobby, announcing a community event hosted by O'Hara Industries. "Join us for a day of community engagement and support for healthcare workers." Clara's heart raced. The event represented more than just a company outreach. It was a chance for the community to unite, showcasing the struggles of healthcare workers, including the housing crises they face. "Clara, are you going to the O'Hara event?" Jessica asked, her excitement palpable. "Absolutely. I think it's a great opportunity to share our stories even further," Clara replied, determination lighting her eyes. "Maybe we can get the conversation about housing going." As the day of the event drew closer, Clara felt a surge of purpose. She spent her evenings preparing, gathering notes and stories that represented her colleagues and their struggles. The idea of bringing their voices to the forefront ignited a fire within her. On the day of the event, Clara arrived early, her heart racing as she stepped into the bustling venue filled with healthcare workers, community members, and representatives from O'Hara Industries. The atmosphere buzzed with a mix of excitement and nerves. "Clara, you made it." Mr. O'Hara's voice cut through the crowd, and she turned to see him striding toward her with a genuine smile. "I'm glad to see you here. Are you ready to share your stories?" "I am," she replied, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions. "I think it's crucial that we highlight the challenges we face, not just in our work, but in our lives outside the hospital." "Exactly. This is about community. And I want to ensure that everyone feels heard," he said with fervor. "Let's change the narrative together." As the event unfolded, Clara found herself surrounded by fellow nurses, doctors, and support staff, each sharing their heartfelt experiences. Tales of long hours, burnout, and the emotional toll of caring for others resonated through the room. Clara felt the camaraderie of shared struggles, a bond forged by their collective perseverance. When it was her turn to speak, Clara took a deep breath. "I'm Clara Thompson, a nurse at St. Michael's Hospital. I care for patients every day, but I also carry the weight of my own struggles. My mother's health has been declining, and we face daily challenges in our living situation." Clara's voice quivered slightly, but the sincerity of her words resonated deeply. "We're all here because we care, and I believe the community can do so much more for us. Many healthcare workers are struggling to find affordable housing, and we must advocate for change." The audience listened intently, a palpable sense of empathy enveloping the room. Clara glanced around to see Mr. O'Hara nodding, his expression one of encouragement. After the event, she was overwhelmed by the response. Attendees approached her with stories of their own, expressing gratitude for her bravery and voicing their collective struggle. "You inspired us all, Clara," one nurse said, tears glistening in her eyes. As Clara took in the sheer magnitude of the moment, she felt a renewed sense of hope. But just as the event had uplifted her, the reality of her home life lingered heavily in the background. One evening, Clara arrived home to find her mother sitting quietly in the living room, a pained expression etched across her face. "Clara, I don't want to hold you back anymore," her mother whispered, tears pooling in her eyes. "Maybe it's time you think about a different life." "Mom, please don't say that," Clara replied, her heart breaking. "You're my priority. I want to care for you, just as you've cared for me all my life." "But it's hard for you, isn't it?" her mother pressed, anguish lacing her voice. "I don't want you to sacrifice your dreams for me." In that moment, Clara understood the depth of her mother's love, but it also ignited something fierce within her. "No sacrifice is too great because you are my reason. Together we'll find a way to make our lives better. I promise." Weeks passed, and the O'Hara event sparked a movement within the community. Clara received an invitation from Mr. O'Hara to join a planning committee aimed at addressing healthcare worker housing. It was a chance to turn hope into action, a glide path to actual change. "Clara, we want you to be a voice for the workers," Mr. O'Hara said during their meeting. "We need real stories to fuel our initiatives. We can create programs to provide housing solutions." Her heart raced with the potential of it all. "I'd love to help in any way I can," she replied, her determination ignited. "We need to create a support network, not just for healthcare workers, but for their families too." As the committee began to meet weekly, Clara poured her heart and soul into each conversation. They brainstormed new ideas, connecting with local organizations and advocating for affordable housing options for healthcare workers. One evening, while flipping through her mother's old photo albums, Clara found a picture of them at the beach, both laughing and carefree. The sight triggered a rush of nostalgia, a reminder of the moments that shaped their bond. "Mom," she said, her voice steady, "I want us to create more memories like this. Not just for us, but for everyone who sacrifices so much to care for others." Her mother smiled weakly, the light in her eyes flickering with hope. "I want that too, Clara. Let's do it together." Time passed, and with each meeting, Clara felt the weight of her struggles slowly lifting. The committee's initiatives began to gain traction, and the community rallied around the cause. Fundraising events, awareness campaigns, and outreach programs flourished, breathing life into the vision they had collectively forged. One rainy afternoon, Clara received a phone call that would change their lives forever. "Ms. Thompson, we're thrilled to inform you that O'Hara Industries has finalized plans for affordable housing units dedicated to healthcare workers. Your advocacy has made a significant impact." Clara's heart soared, tears streaming down her cheeks as the enormity of the moment sank in. "Thank you so much. This will change lives," she managed to say, her voice trembling with emotion. As she hung up, she rushed to her mother, who was seated in the living room. "Mom, you won't believe it." "What is it, dear?" her mother asked, her eyes widening with curiosity. "They're building affordable housing for healthcare workers. Our voices were heard, and we're finally making a difference." Her mother's face lit up with joy, and they embraced, the weight of their struggles momentarily lifting. "I told you, Clara, you have a gift for bringing people together. I'm so proud of." As the weeks passed following the announcement of the housing initiative, the changes in Clara's life were palpable. The air felt lighter, filled with a renewed sense of purpose among her colleagues and within her community. Clara found herself at the forefront of a movement that was not just about housing, but about weaving a tighter fabric of support for those who gave so much to others. The day after the announcement, Clara stood in the bustling hospital cafeteria, a warm cup of coffee in her hands. She shared the news with Jessica, who had become her confidante and ally in their endeavors. "Can you believe it? This is just the beginning." Clara beamed, her eyes radiating excitement. Jessica, poring over some documents, looked up, her expression a mix of disbelief and joy. This is monumental. It's not just housing, Clara. It's validation for all of us who've been battling these issues. We're finally being recognized. The cafeteria buzzed with chatter, a stark contrast to the once muted conversations that occurred around their shared struggles. Nurses and doctors alike were discussing the potential changes, their spirits buoyed by the prospect of a brighter future. Clara felt a swell of pride, recognizing that their collective voice had sparked something powerful within their community. That evening, however, behind the veil of celebration, Clara returned home to a familiar heaviness. Her mother sat at the dining table, a pile of unopened mail beside her. The soft lamplight cast shadows over her face, revealing the toll of the illness she grappled with daily. "Hey, Mom," Clara said, her tone wavering between enthusiasm and concern. "I have some great news. The housing initiative is moving forward. We might actually be able to find a new place." Her mother looked up slowly, her smile warm but tinged with uncertainty. "That's wonderful, sweetheart. But is it enough? Will it really change anything for you?" "Of course. It's not just about a roof over our heads. It means support, community, a place where healthcare workers can thrive. We won't have to struggle like this anymore," Clara replied, her conviction unwavering. But her mother's eyes conveyed the weight of doubt. "You work so hard, Clara. I see what you do every day at the hospital, but I don't want you to exhaust yourself fighting for a cause that may not deliver. Mom, I need you to believe in this as much as I do," Clara urged. "We've come this far together. I can't give up now." As they spoke, Clara realized how deeply embedded her mother's fears were, etched into her soul by years of hardship. While Clara sought to uplift her with hope, her mother's reality remained shadowed by the haunting fears of inadequacy and burden. Days turned into weeks, and the momentum for the housing project grew, fueled by Clara's tireless advocacy. She participated in community meetings, sharing personal stories of healthcare workers and their struggles. Each time she spoke, she felt the collective energy of those around her, their shared determination washing over her like a warm embrace. During one of the meetings, a local councilman approached Clara. "Your passion is contagious, Clara," he said, his voice filled with admiration. "Have you thought about organizing a rally? We need to rally the community to push the initiative forward." Clara's heart raced at the thought. "I think that's an incredible idea. A rally could bring everyone together to show our support." "Let's work together on this," he replied, his eyes gleaming with the possibility. "You've already inspired so many." The rally was an exhilarating whirlwind of planning, camaraderie, and hope. Clara found herself at the center of a movement that seemed to take on a life of its own. Flyers went up around the city. Enthusiastic volunteers joined the cause, and Clara even managed to secure a local radio spot to share their mission. "Join us next Saturday at City Hall," Clara announced during her radio interview, her voice echoing with urgency. "Let's show the world what we need: affordable housing for healthcare workers. Together, we can make change happen." When the day of the rally arrived, Clara stood outside City Hall, nervous energy buzzing in her veins. The sun shone brightly, a stark contrast to the storm of emotions brewing within her. She looked out at the crowd gathering, feeling her heart swell with pride as nurses, doctors, and community members joined together, united in their purpose. "Thank you all for being here," Clara began, her voice ringing clear through the loudspeakers. "Today we stand together, not just as healthcare workers, but as a community that refuses to be silenced. Our struggles are real, but so is our strength." Cheers erupted from the crowd, a wave of energy that surged through her. Clara continued, the passion igniting her words. "For too long we've faced challenges alone. It's time we stand together, advocate for ourselves, and demand the support we deserve." As she spoke, she noticed her mother in the crowd, a hint of pride shimmering in her eyes. Clara felt a rush of determination, pushing her to pour even more of herself into the words that flowed. We are the backbone of this community. Together, we can build a future where healthcare workers aren't just surviving, but thriving. The rally concluded with a sense of accomplishment, but the shadows of home crept back into Clara's mind. Her mother's health continued to decline, each day feeling like a new battle. She often found her mother sitting quietly, lost in thought, consumed by her own fears. "Clara," her mother said one evening, her voice barely above a whisper. "You're doing so much. I don't want you to feel obligated to me. There's a good chance I want to get better, and I don't want my illness to take away your dreams." Clara felt a knot tighten in her chest, the weight of her mother's words heavy with reality. "Mom, you are my dream. I don't care about anything else if it means I can't take care of you. We're in this together, remember? You taught me that." Her mother's eyes glistened with tears, a reflection of the love and vulnerability they shared. "I just want you to be happy, Clara. You deserve so much more." Clara reached out, taking her mother's hand, squeezing it gently. "Your happiness is my happiness. We'll find a way through this, I promised." As Clara continued to fight for her cause, she found solace in the small victories: community support, local businesses offering sponsorships, and heartfelt stories shared at every meeting. Still, her heart ached with the knowledge that her mother's health was slipping. One evening, after a particularly long day at the hospital, Clara returned home to find her mother asleep on the couch, surrounded by a few scattered photographs, their beach day, family gatherings, and memories of brighter times. Clara's heart swelled with love and sadness. The woman who had always been her pillar of strength was now so frail. "Ma," Clara whispered, kneeling beside her. "I'm here." Her mother stirred, blinking awake, a warm smile spreading across her face. "Clara, dear, I was just resting. I didn't mean to worry you." Clara brushed her fingers against her mother's cheek, feeling the warmth of her love in that moment. "You never have to worry about that. You've given me everything. I just want to make sure you're okay." Days melted into one another, and the hard work of advocating for healthcare worker housing finally began to bear fruit. The council voted to approve the housing initiative, spurred on by the outpouring of community support from the rally. Clara felt a rush of joy at the news, but it was often tinged with the fear of losing her mother in the process. As the housing project took shape, Clara's advocacy efforts blossomed into a broader mission. She organized workshops, bringing in experts to talk about mental health, financial planning, and wellness. She wanted to support her colleagues beyond the push for housing. She wanted to create a community that thrived. One evening, she sat with her mother, reviewing pamphlets for an upcoming workshop titled, "Resilience in Healthcare. What do you think, Mom? Are we doing enough?" Clara asked, her voice laced with uncertainty. Her mother looked up, pride beaming in her eyes, despite the fatigue that often clouded her expression. "You are doing so much, Clara. You're a light for so many, and I admire your heart. Just remember to take care of yourself, too." "I will," Clara promised, though the weight of her mother's illness seemed to anchor her spirit at times. "I just want to make sure others feel as supported as I do. You taught me what it means to care for others." The days turned into a blur, filled with meetings, planning sessions, and paperwork as the housing project moved forward. But Clara remained committed. Each step they took toward building the new homes felt like a step toward healing, not just for her community but for herself and her mother. As spring painted the city in bursts of color, Clara was met with another unexpected phone call. "Ms. Thompson, this is Mr. O'Hara. I wanted to let you know that we're ready to break ground on the housing project next week, and we'd love for you to be there." Clara's heart soared. "Thank you, Mr. O'Hara. It means so much to know we're finally moving forward after everything. Your advocacy has made this possible, Clara. We couldn't. # Part 4. New Foundations. The golden light of dawn broke into Clara's modest apartment, casting a soft glow on the worn furniture. She sat at the dining table, a steaming mug of coffee cradled between her hands. Today was the day they were to break ground on the housing project. Excitement surged through her veins, but it was accompanied by the familiar weight of her mother's declining health. "Mom?" Clara called softly, hoping to see her mother's familiar smile greet her. "Are you awake?" "I am, dear," her mother replied, her voice thin and shaky, yet filled with warmth. She emerged from the bedroom, her silver hair framing her face like a halo. "What's on today's agenda?" Clara's heart swelled at her mother's effort to engage despite her illness. "It's a big day, Mom. They're officially breaking ground for the new housing for healthcare workers," she said, barely able to contain her enthusiasm. Her mother's eyes twinkled with pride, though the burden of worry etched across her features was unmistakable. "That's wonderful, Clara. You've worked so hard for this." "Yeah, but it feels so much bigger than just me. It's about everyone who's been struggling like we have," Clara replied, placing her hand over her mother's. "I wish you could come with me today to see it all happen." Her mother sighed softly, the weight of her illness palpable. "I want to, sweetheart, but I don't know if I'm strong enough." The tremor in her voice spoke volumes, and Clara felt a familiar ache in her heart. "Mom, your strength has always been my anchor. You've inspired me to fight. I'll take you next time, I promise," Clara reassured her, squeezing her mother's hand tightly. "You're my guiding light." With a gentle nod, her mother managed a smile. "I'll be cheering for you from here. You're making a difference." After a quick breakfast, Clara donned her scrubs and prepared for the day ahead. As she stepped out of the apartment, she took a moment to appreciate the old building, cracked walls and all. It was a reminder of the struggles they faced, but it was also a symbol of resilience, their home, their sanctuary. On the drive to the groundbreaking ceremony, Clara's mind raced with memories of how far they had come. The countless hours spent advocating, the tireless nights at the hospital, and the moments where hope felt like a fleeting dream. She couldn't help but feel a surge of gratitude for her community, for the support that blossomed around them. Upon arriving at the site, Clara was met with a lively crowd gathered for the event. Nurses, doctors, community leaders, and families filled the area as the sun shone brightly, illuminating smiles and camaraderie. Clara's heart swelled at the sight of her colleagues, their faces filled with hope and determination. "Clara, over here!" Jessica waved, her enthusiasm infectious. She rushed over, her eyes sparkling. "Can you believe this? We did it." "I can hardly believe it. It's surreal," Clara replied, her voice thick with emotion. "We fought for this, every single one of us." As the ceremony commenced, Mr. O'Hara took to the podium, his presence commanding attention. "Today we celebrate not just the groundbreaking of a housing project, but the strength of a community that has rallied together in the face of adversity." His words resonated deeply within Clara, stirring a sense of belonging and purpose. When it was Clara's turn to speak, her hands trembled slightly, but she took a deep breath, channeling her nerves into determination. "Thank you all for believing in this mission. This isn't just about bricks and mortar. It's about the lives we touch and the futures we build together." Her voice grew stronger, fueled by the support surrounding her. "Every night I go home to my mom, feeling the weight of our struggles. I know you all carry similar burdens. This project is our chance to pave the way for a brighter future." Clara's words hung in the air, and she could see the audience nodding, their faces a blend of hope and determination. "Together, we will create a community where healthcare workers can thrive, where no one has to choose between caring for their loved ones and having a place to call home." Applause erupted, and tears glistened in the eyes of many. Yet, amidst the joy, Clara felt that familiar ache in her heart for her mother. She longed for her to be there, to share in this monumental moment. After the ceremony concluded, Clara wove through the crowd, accepting hugs, pats on the back, and heartfelt congratulations. "Clara, this is amazing!" Jessica exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. "You've sparked something incredible here." "Thank you, Jess. But this isn't just me. It's everyone. Our stories fuel this fire, Clara replied, her heart full. I just hope we can continue to build on this momentum. As the crowd started to dissipate, Clara felt a pang of longing to share the day's triumph with her mother. She quickly texted her. Breaking ground was incredible. Can't wait to tell you all about it. Driving home, Clara's thoughts raced. She imagined a future where their struggles were minimized, where her mother could rest easy in a supportive community. Yet, as she turned the key in the lock and stepped inside, reality hit. The apartment felt heavier than usual. "Mom," Clara called out, her voice echoing through the stillness. She found her mother seated quietly in the living room, a photograph of the two of them from years past clutched in her hands. "Hey, sweetheart, how was it?" her mother asked, her voice soft but strained. "It was beautiful, Mom. The community came together and I felt hope in everyone's eyes," Clara replied, rushing to her mother's side. "I just wish you could have been there." Her mother looked down at the photograph, a wistfulness in her gaze. "I wish I could have seen you shine. It sounds like you've turned your pain into purpose." "I'm trying, Mom. I'm trying to make everything better for us, for everyone," Clara said, biting her lip to hold back tears. "You've always been my inspiration." Her mother gently squeezed her hand. "You are a force of nature, Clara. You're bringing people together, and that's a gift. Just remember, no matter what happens, I'm proud of you." Clara felt tears spill over, but she quickly brushed them away. "We'll get through this together. We're a team, remember?" "That we are," her mother replied, giving Clara's hand a reassuring squeeze. "But you have to take care of yourself too. You can't pour from an empty cup." In that moment, Clara understood the depth of her mother's worry. She had always been the caregiver, but her mother's love extended beyond her illness. It encompassed Clara's well-being too. As days turned into weeks, Clara found solace in the small victories and the relentless support of her community. Each week, more developments were announced about the housing project, and the excitement continued to build among healthcare workers. Clara remained at the forefront, nurturing the movement while balancing work and caring for her mother. One evening, after a particularly challenging day at the hospital, Clara found herself sitting beside her mother, who flipped through another old photo album. They laughed at memories captured on film, illuminating the warmth of their shared history. But Clara couldn't shake the anxiety that loomed over her mother's health. "Mom, do you want to talk about how you're feeling?" Clara asked gently, treading carefully. Her mother sighed deeply, the weight of unspoken fears hanging in the air. "I'm scared, Clara. I see you fighting so hard, and I don't want to hold you back. I don't know how long I can keep going." "That's not true." Clara shook her head, a lump forming in her throat. "I need you, Mom. We're in this together. You've always kept me grounded, and I won't stop fighting for us." Her mother smiled weakly, tears pooling in her eyes. "You are the strongest person I know, Clara. I just worry that I'm a burden." "Never," Clara replied fiercely. "You are my everything, and we'll face whatever comes next together." As the weeks progressed, the housing project broke ground and began to take shape, but the shadows of uncertainty loomed over Clara's home. The stress of balancing her mother's needs and the advocacy work weighed heavily on her heart. One evening, after a long day, Clara returned home to find her mother asleep on the couch, the remnants of a meal untouched on the table. A sense of dread washed over her. "Mom," she whispered, kneeling beside her. "Are you okay?" Her mother stirred, blinking awake. "I'm sorry, dear. I don't have the energy lately," she said, her voice weak. Clara's heart ached. "You've been fighting for so long. It's okay to rest. Just know I'm here for you." Her mother's gaze softened. "You are a light in my life, Clara. I don't want to dim your shine with my struggles." "I'd trade everything to keep you healthy," Clara said, tears spilling over. "But I won't lose hope. We have so much to fight."